Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lynchburg. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs, whatever your age, whatever your gender identity, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we work together for justice, compassion, and peace, we also acknowledge with humility that our buildings sit on Monacan land. My name is Courtney Senna, and I'm the Director of Lifespan Engagement for this congregation. If you are with us for the first time on Zoom or in the sanctuary, we are glad you chose to be here this morning to participate in the service for the congregation we love. If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, please fill out the contact card found on our website, uulynchburg.org, or fill out the yellow card found in the back of the chair in front of you and place it in the offering basket during the offering. For those who like to make a donation via app, UUCL is now using Venmo rather than PayPal. You can find us on Venmo by searching, and we have a QR code in Drysdale Hall, and there's also one on our website. On April 20th, Easter Sunday, we will have our annual flowering of the chalice. You are invited to bring one or more flowers from your garden or elsewhere to place in the special chalice. If you forget a flower, don't worry, others will bring extras. As we celebrate Earth Day and Easter, we celebrate the mystery of life. And that will be a multi-gen service. Our young people will join us for the flowering of the chalice and then go on an Easter egg hunt. Following today's service, please join us for social time in Drysdale Hall or on Zoom. I would like to invite Kim Senna up to share a committee moment.
Good morning, I'm Kim Senna, and I am a member of the Sunday Services Committee. And we have decided that on the first Sunday of every month, we're going to have a committee moment where a representative of any of our number of church committees will come up and give a short spiel about what that committee does, so that if you're looking for ways to get engaged in the life of our church, maybe one of these little committee moments will appeal to you and you'll want to step up and be part of that committee. The Sunday Services Committee has been led forever by Gary Duvall. How many years,
Bless
Gary?
him.
16 years. That's forever in the life of this church, I think. I've been on and off with the committee depending on my busy schedule, and there are several others who join us. And our task is to find speakers for our Sunday services. Even when we have a full-time minister, it is a tradition in the Unitarian Church that they're not at the pulpit every Sunday, as would be the case in a traditional, say, Christian church if you're from that kind of background. So we find speakers, and lots of times if we can't find one, then that's when you get stuck with me as your speaker. But it's a nice, fulfilling way. Oh, and we're also facilitators. So members of the committee will often be the service facilitator, although Courtney does that quite often since she's already up here. Sometimes we help with the lighting of the chalice, the lighting of the candles during joys and concerns, and the extinguishing of the chalice. So it's a nice way to get involved. We meet on the second Thursday of every month via Zoom at 6:30. So it's not a large commitment of time, but we look for ideas. If you have any ideas for a service or you would like to be a speaker, you're welcome to let us know. We would love that, because sometimes we have trouble filling the schedule. Right now, our schedule looks pretty good for the foreseeable several months, but come fall, we'll be looking for speakers and ideas, so just let us know. And if you want to be part of the committee, you can let Gary know, or you can let me know, or you can let Terry know. All right, that's your committee moment for today.
Now I invite us to release our worries about the world and our own lives as we enter into the service by taking some slow, calming breaths. It's wonderful to be together, and it helps us feel like we're together when the roomies wave good morning to the zoomies, and the zoomies wave good morning to the roomies. It's wonderful to be here in time and space. And I invite us now to join together in our unison chalice lighting. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of Life. Thank you. It's a new month, and our theme this month is joy. How many people are feeling pretty joyful after yesterday? Yes. Joy and hope are part of our understanding of the sacred. Whether we're humanist or theist, Christian or Muslim, you use, our faith is grounded in love. Original blessing rather than original sin, which Kim and I sort of looked at each other when you were playing. What was the hymn that we were singing? Yeah, when it got to God in three persons, blessed Trinity, it's like, okay, we would all edit that out. But anyway, the radical changes in our society that we're seeing are fostering fear, anger, and hate. And it's really easy for all of us to go down these rabbit holes of anxiety. But we need to remember and help each other remember that our faith is grounded in joy and hope and love. So we can help each other come back from the brink sometimes. We need to remind each other of this when we're feeling overwhelmed or fragile. So I thought that it would be time for us to look at some of the thoughts that we carried with us through centuries of understanding what Unitarian Universalism and Unitarian Universalism is. So we need to understand that our core, even if some external things change, our core is based in love. So joy, hope, love have always been our firm foundation. Anybody remember the hymn, How Firm a Foundation? Well, I remember that well. Today, we get to sing a lot of hymns, no sermon. I'm just going to talk a lot and pretend it's not a sermon. But we're going to sing hymns that are familiar, and perhaps one is your favorite. I've already talked to two people this morning who said, are we going to sing Spirit of Life? Yes, we're going to sing Spirit of Life. Often, though, we sing the words without really thinking about what they mean and how they speak to our understanding of life, grounded in love and joy and hope. So many thanks to Emily for suggesting, learning, and sharing music for this morning. She found a wonderful postlude that we're all going to sing together, we get to learn something unfamiliar, like I don't already pick hymns sometimes that we can't sing. And the prelude was by Bela Bartok, who was a Unitarian born in 1881 in what was then the Kingdom of Hungary, which is now Romania. His family was Catholic, but he became a Unitarian in 1916. So I would like to invite our children and those young at heart. What?
I think our chapel
Oh.
is feeling very joyful this
It
morning.
is feeling joyful. You know, and our last hymn is the Fire of Commitment. It's just starting a little early.
It is very committed.
Happy that we're singing about fire.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I need the children up here, but you can't get close to the fire. Yes. So glad y'all are here today. So we're starting off this service, and I'm going to need your help in a minute, because when we first started out as Unitarians and Universalists, it was right after the prophet Jesus left this life, and people had a lot of different ideas about who he was. Was he God? Was he human? And different people had different thoughts about that. So some of the people that we draw our heritage from thought that there was only one unity of God, not the Trinity as traditional Christians believe it today. And other people who were part of our heritage believed that God was a loving God and that all souls are loved and no one would be condemned. Has anybody at school ever said anything to you because your beliefs were different than theirs? Yes, it's sort of hurtful, isn't it? But we believe that love is the foundation and that we're all loved. So when we think about the teachings that Jesus began, what we learn today is from a language that he didn't even speak. So today I'm going to teach you a couple of words that usually are said, "Our Father who art in heaven," like God is way off somewhere. But in Aramaic, which was the language that Jesus spoke, I think someone wants to get in. I think so. Yes, that's it. But in Aramaic, what it says is, "O birther, mother, father of the cosmos, everything you create in light." So that means that no matter who we are or what's here, what is inside of each of us is love and light. And often I can see that light shining out of your eyes, out of other people's eyes. So today we're going to learn that first phrase of what's called the prayer of Jesus. And it's weird words. I mean, they aren't weird if you spoke that language, and the two words are abun, abun, abun. And the second word is, and it's got a weird sound, debwashmaya. Bwashmaya. Bwashmaya, exactly. Abun debwashmaya. And it does sort of, to us, sound like a 2-year-old might be saying it. But
Our language sounds weird to them.
exactly. So, a lot of times, I mean, do you ever hear your favorite music and you don't want to sit still and you just want to move? Yeah. So we're going to learn a simple movement, and Kim's going to help us on the guitar, to how we might move with these words. So remember, they mean about everybody has light inside of them. So what we're all going to do is bow our heads to our hearts and then move up, and then we're going to sway our head over our heart and imagine that our hearts are opening for that love and light to just come out of it. And then we're going to say Abun Deba Shemaya and swing the other way. Abun Deba Shemaya. Abun Deba Shemaya. And so let's go through it one time with Kim, and I'm just going to chant it a little bit. And y'all can stand up if you want to. Grown-ups, you can stand up. You can sit and just sway in your chair, but this is a way to get that love and light and sounds into our bodies. So I'm going to go through it once. Abun Deba Shemaya, 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 Abun Deba Shemaya. Yeah, thank you. Yes, but that was moving our bodies helps us feel like, wow, our hearts are open and we're open to love and light. And people chanted and moved like that because way back then, there weren't all the musical instruments that we have. Although I didn't do research on when some were invented, but there were always drums and people chanting and humming. So I want y'all to remember as you go to your classes that no matter what people say or what you're feeling, there is always this love that's there inside you and this light that you're invited to share with everybody you know in the world. Eliza.
What is the translation of that? Do you know?
Of light?
No, of the Bosch.
It's, O birther, mother, father of the universe, you create all that is in light. Yeah, it is. It would be, but it's not our Father who art in heaven, because that says what's sacred and what is love, ultimate love, is somewhere far away, but it's not. It's in us, it's in the trees, it's in the wind, it's in the flowers, it's in Ella the snail this morning. Yeah, and it's in each of you. So, what adventures are they having today?
Apparently nothing that requires a microphone. So today I'm really excited because we're talking about joy upstairs too. And this is our first week talking about joy. And so today we're going to be exploring the joy found in nature. And that can be in flowers and bugs and butterflies and snails. And some people even believe that there might be fairies in nature and that you need a fairy house for them. So we're going to be looking at all things nature and how we can find joy in it. And we're going to be making some joy to share upstairs today. So we ready to go? All right.
We know so little about those earliest days of believers in Jesus who held the beliefs in the unity of God and universal salvation. And though those are the roots of our beliefs, they're really only two threads of belief about who Jesus was. I personally, after some years of study, believe that the Aramaic gives us a more authentic understanding of the way people who followed Jesus believed. They could see and hear from their own experience the love and joy of the teacher Jesus. Fear and condemnation are human constructs that were added centuries later. I mean, remember, the Trinity wasn't even in Christian dogma for 400 years. So as Christianity became a state religion by the 4th century, there was little tolerance for different beliefs about who Jesus was. But people continued to believe in the unity of God and in universal salvation. Often, for their own safety, they had to worship underground. Centuries later, there emerged a strong belief in the unity of God, Unitarian thought, in what was the Transylvanian part of the Hungarian Empire and is now part of Romania. Many of us know this part of our history. Francis David was a physician and court preacher for King Sigismund, and David convinced the king of the importance of freedom of religious thought. And in 1568, King Sigismund signed the Edict of Torda, and for the first time, people in a kingdom were given the right to believe according to their own conscience. The proclamation of Unitarian thought by Francis David in 1568 holds the core of our faith. Reason is the lantern of faith. The acknowledgement that we continue to learn, grow, evolve throughout our lives. We are open to inspiration and truth from many sources. Conscience is a key part of our faith and will not be quieted by anything less than truth and justice. Heaven, if you want to call it salvation, is what we achieve here on earth. So hear now the words of David. In this world, there have always been many opinions about faith and salvation. You need not think alike to love alike. There must be knowledge in faith also. Sanctified reason is the lantern of faith. Religious reform can never be all at once, but gradually, step by step. If they offer something better, I will gladly learn. The most important spiritual function is conscience, the source of all joy and happiness. Conscience will not be quieted by anything less than truth and justice. We must accept God's truth in this lifetime. Salvation must be accomplished in this lifetime. Salvation must be accomplished here on earth. God is indivisible. Ege aj ishten. God is one. So our Unitarian sisters and brothers who still live in Transylvania are more theistic than many, maybe most, of American Unitarian Universalists. But there's a traditional blessing that offers our sisters and brothers in Eastern Europe hope and peace. I'm trying to see, it's on this little plate up here. Where there's faith, there is love. Where there's love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God is all we need. This blessing alludes to the repression and sometimes annihilation of our Transylvanian forebears, what they experienced for centuries, and through it all, they kept the faith. And we can find their survival strategy in their coat of arms. David, do you mind putting that slide up? One symbol that's found in many ancient cultures is the Ouroboros, or a snake circled and eating its tail. We can see the Ouroboros in the Unitarian coat of arms with a dove in the middle. There it is. Our coat of arms. The Ouroboros, and then the dove in the middle. So because over the centuries, there was much oppression of minorities' religious beliefs, the Ouroboros with the dove in it became a symbol of Unitarian survival. And it comes from a passage in the Christian scripture in Matthew 10:16. Behold, I'm sending you out as a sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Unitarians in Transylvania continue to hold the faith. Unitarian thought later expanded into England, where Joseph Priestley, the famous scientist who discovered oxygen, and who was also a Unitarian preacher, ended up coming to this country at the invitation of Benjamin Franklin after his scientific laboratory was burned because of his liberal beliefs. So I want us to look at hymn 37. Let's turn to that, and y'all can stay seated until the last hymn, because we've got to stand up for fire of commitment. Let's turn to 37. This hymn continues to focus on life despite hardship, and life that's based in love and joy. While the words are modern, the music actually goes back to 1607 in Transylvania. Notice again that science and faith are woven together in a unified reality focused on love, hope, peace, and joy. Universal love rather than sin is the focus. We're called to bring that hope, joy, and peace to the earth. So let's remain seated as we sing this hymn. Thank you. Each Sunday, we take an offering of our gifts for the work of this community, both within this building and in the larger world. It's John Murray that brought universalism to these shores. In the early years of European settlement, there were circuit riding preachers of Calvinists and Puritans who traveled from community to community preaching the wrath of God and the need to seek forgiveness for our sins or we would be damned for eternity. Enter John Murray, who brought the gospel of universal salvation and love. The hymn that I really like that speaks to this articulates this understanding, and it's hymn 131. John Murray preached a gospel of salvation that spoke to love and acceptance. We are all beloved. Even when things are difficult, love will guide us. Love can guide us. I love this hymn in part because I can't carry a tune. But this hymn reminds us we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to sing like angels. We can give from deep within us. So let's sing together. Love will guide us. My seminary, that'll preach. Each week we share in the midst of our community the joys and the concerns. Spirit of life and love, we hold up today the beauty and mystery of life. The power of love to hold us strong and grounded no matter what life brings our way. We are particularly concerned about those who are suffering in mind, body, and spirit. Those who are losing needed support for themselves and their families and their people. May we find strength in our faith and in our common unity for justice, compassion, hope, love. May we seek out and find new ways that we can make a difference to help transform the world. This we ask in the name of all that is sacred. Amen. And if you don't know all the words to Spirit of Life, it's 123.
Sing in my heart.
Everybody happy now? You know, without our ancestors, the transcendentalists, we might still be considered very liberal Christians. But it was people like Emerson, Channing, Thoreau, and Parker who kept searching and expanding their thinking, and they evolved as, for the first time in this culture, the sacred texts of other faiths could be read. And so they studied religions that were outside the Abrahamic faith, Hinduism in particular, and it helped them find a more universal understanding of the world. Their search introduced Unitarian Universalists and Western Christianity to both Hindu and earth-centered beliefs, always understanding that each person must find their own beliefs, and these beliefs needed to be respected and honored. So, Teresa, thank you for reading a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "A person will worship something, have no doubt about that. We may think our tribute is paid in secret in the dark recesses of our hearts, but it will out. That which dominates our imaginations and our thoughts will determine our lives and character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we worship. For what we are worshiping, we are becoming."
Thank you, Teresa. One of the aspects of our faith that brings us all joy is our commitment to the interdependent web of existence. We honor, respect, and learn from nature. There are many of us for whom earth-centered rhythms of nature are our primary expression of our understanding of the sacred. We realize with each passing year how essential our interdependence with nature really is. So in that spirit, I invite us to sing hymn 163. Favorite readings goes along with this, and I'd like to invite Andreas to share it.
Troy Atkinson wrote, "The womb of stars embrace us. Remnants of their fiery furnaces pulse through our veins. We are the stars, the dust of explosions cast across space. We are of the earth. We breathe and live in the breath of ancient plants and beasts. Their cells nourish the soil. We build our communities on their harvest of gifts. Our fingers trace the curves carved in clay and stone by forebears unknown to us. We are a part of the great circle of humanity, gathered around the first, the hearth, the altar. We gather anew this day to celebrate our common heritage. May we recall in gratitude all that has given us birth."
Thank you, Andreas. In addition to our deep connection to and love for the earth, we know that in the last century, many Unitarian Universalists have considered themselves humanists or agnostics. Those people focus on the power of human beings to create heaven on earth by good works and deeds of love and kindness. So in that spirit, let us share hymn 323, "Break Not the Circle." Forget that in these days sometimes. As you can tell by all these hymns, our understanding of love is always active. Love is a verb that calls us to, as our wonderful mission statement says, to live love in the world. There is a freedom and a sense of joy that we know who we are and the core of what we believe. One of my favorite readings is from UU minister Mark Morrison Reed, who writes, "The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength is too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. Together, we remind one another, support one another, offer a word of hope, love, and joy to those whose lives we touch. Even when times are chaotic, when we are caught in fear and anxiety, we have this community to remind us that we are loved, we are rooted in love, and that we have the power of love to help us change the world. What a gift it is to be part of a faith of blessing and hope. What a gift. Throughout our long history, Unitarians and Universalists have acted in tandem to break down the walls that divide us and bring more hope, more joy, more peace, and more love to the human family. And of course, over the centuries, there have been family disagreements. But finally, in 1961, the Unitarians and the Universalists merged, as we know, into the Unitarian Universalist Association. So for that celebration, honoring our two ancient threads of belief, a hymn was written to remind us of the foundation of our faith. So let's look at hymn 113. Of these are very familiar readings and hymns, but you know, we're at an interesting and dangerous place in history. The human family's been at interesting and dangerous places before, but I think this is the first time that the welfare of Mother Earth has also been at risk. Yet here we are. I hope these selections have helped us all feel that there is this core within us and within our community that can help us continue to believe and to work as people of hope, people of justice, people of joy, people of love. Our friends, both here and our ancestors, offer us words of hope. I always look to our foremother, Olympia Brown, who's the first woman ordained by a denomination, all those years ago. But she wrote some words that I go back to over and over again. Stand by this faith. Work for it and sacrifice for it. There is nothing in all the world so important as to be loyal to this faith, which has placed before us the loftiest ideals, which has comforted us in sorrow, strengthened us for noble duty, and made the world beautiful. Do not demand immediate results, but rejoice that we are worthy to be entrusted with this great message, that you are strong enough to work for a great true principle without counting the cost. Go on finding ever new applications of these truths and new enjoyments in their contemplation, always trusting in the one God which ever lives and loves. Ours is an ancient tradition that through all the transitions of principalities and powers has held steadfast to the core of love and joy and hope that has sustained our people throughout the ages. We are tasked with finding new applications of our values, our faith, our message of love. We are called to live with a fire of commitment in our hearts and actions. So now we can rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, which is in the teal hymnal, number 1028. time, as we prepare to go our separate ways, roomies, let's wave goodbye to our Zoomies. Zoomies, wave goodbye to our roomies. It's been wonderful to be together. As our service draws to a close, we extinguish the flame of our chalice as we say these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And our benediction comes from Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love, its profession of faith, divine living. So today we get to enjoy our postlude. And Emily found this wonderful song, We Shall Be Known, and these are words we need to hear from each other so we care for one another and support one another in all that life brings our way. So as we sing these words, think of all the beloveds in this room and on Zoom. And yes, we're learning to lead with love. Thank you so much, Emily.
So I will sing this once for you all to hear, and we'll sing it again twice together, and you join as you feel comfortable. The last time, we'll repeat the last two lines that start with "in this great turning." We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning
join us for social time, whether